guys, this is Jørgen from Shining. I also play keyboards in Emperor, and I wanted to go through my live setup that I'm using on the live shows with Emperor. We play big festivals and concerts all over the world all the time, and while the other guys in the band, they're bringing all sorts of big equipment, guitars, rack, stuff. I only bring my little laptop computer in my backpack and a small sound card, and that's it. And I rent the keyboard from all the venues and all the festivals, and I use that. So I travel lightly. I only bring what I can bring on the plane. I've made a list of all the plugins that I've used in this video. You can see it down in the description below. I also have an affiliate link for you that you can use if you want to buy any of them. They're all fucking awesome. So enjoy the video. So the first thing I do, I have this little app called Midi Monitor, and I check that I get the MIDI signals in. I check all the keys and I check all the sliders, pitch bend, and I check that it sends on the only channel 1, and I check that none of the other, knobs and things. I check that they don't send signals without me touching them. If anything is wrong, if it sends on channel 16 or stuff like that, I search online to see how I can factory reset the keyboard. If everything is good, then I just go out of this one. My first choice is a Native Instruments Complete Control, either A61 or S61. But I can use anything. I can use most stuff that is 61 keys. So this is another one. I go to layout and I assign my lowest key to patch back or patch up. And then I assign the next key to patch forward or patch down, which is the same. So I don't have to I use the keyboard to change patches, basically. I assign the pitch bend that I'm using for some Theremin stuff. That's it. I don't really use the sustain pedal. I try to keep it simple. That's it. And then I always save as. So I give it a new number like that, and I call it assigned for video, like that, video. And you can see down here, I always save when I save at home when I save a new at home when I'm practicing. VM means practicing at home. I save when there's a changeover. I save when there's a show, and I save when there's a new sound check. Here's Helsinki, Romania, Los Angeles, Dallas, etc. So if something goes wrong, I can always revert back to the previous saved version. And there's a lot of stuff going on here, so stuff can go wrong, and it's a smart thing to be able to go back. Okay, on this one, when I'm playing with Emperor, I'm using a sound card with 4 outputs, which is 2 stereo outputs, one for the keys that I'm playing, and one for intros, outros, one-shot effects, stuff like that, which I call samples. Right now we're just listening to the main outputs, so I'm going to route it to the main outputs like that. Bam! And the next thing we do is the line check, and I'm going to make sure that all the cables are going to the right place. So I've made these Kontakt patches that says line 1 on it, and that goes to line 1. Line 1. And I can just hold it, and it keeps on repeating, so the sound guys can solo the tracks and make sure that it goes to the right one. When that's done, we do sound check, and we see if it sounds good. So here's So that sounds good. So first of all, I have some cool stuff on the master, like to just make it sound smooth. I have some analog stuff, some EQ, some dynamic and saturation. And I have some EQ. Depends on, that's just a slight low-mid bump. Depends on where I'm playing. If I play at home, I'm doing more of that stuff. Some multiband saturation, a little dip at 1.5K. Compressor, old school Shure level lock, and then transformer. So that's just to make it sound a little bit cooler. With Emperor, I'm using almost only sampled stuff. I have brass, trombones and trumpets and stuff like that, and I have strings, which is a mix of strings and mellotrons, old school, old sounding stuff. And then there's some Theremin, which is like a spooky kind of synth, old school synth thing. And choir. Those are my 4 kind of categories. While in Shining, we do more synth stuff. So there's more VST synths going on in Shining. Here, it's almost only Kontakt instruments. And sometimes I sample other stuff and put it back into Kontakt because it's, you know, it's reliable. So I got brass. I'm not only using Native Instruments Kontakt, but I'm also using their sample libraries, which is this is an old one. So this is the trombones. They probably end. Yeah, they get pretty soft up there, so I have trumpets to take over on the top. Yeah, so that's a brass, and they usually I process them a bit, just compressed, some saturation and EQ, some EQ, big difference, you know, and some more EQs. You see, I added 800 hertz there, and some a lot of reverb to make it sound big. Because that's black metal. So that's a typical brass. Sometimes I mix it up with strings. So let's take a look at the strings. It's usually Native Instruments standard. Well, that's a brass. Let's see, strings. Give me strings. Emperor strings. We got strings there. This is probably. This is the factory pack. Sounds awesome. And then to make it more sustain, I added a mellotron. This was not sampled, but you'll see later that I've sampled this exact same thing. It doesn't go further down because I want the brass to take over from there. So that gives it this old cinematic vibe. So that's the strings, and then in combination with the brass. Sounds cool. I got some choir. I got this one, which is also a Kontakt instrument. Sounds awesome to me. I have a Neve EQ on that, I think. There we go. 3.5K. Some compression. And a big hall. Or whatever it is. Sounds awesome. And sometimes I have this kind of fake, more synthetic choir. Let's take a look at that. Spooky choir. Yeah, that's also Kontakt instruments, everything is. And here you can see there's like 4 different ones, layered. And a Mellotron. All 4. Sound awesome together. Okay, that's the choir. Maybe sometimes I double it with the real one. Yeah, let's take a look at the flute. And I change. So those flutes are some MainStage synth thing in the. And then I have sampled my own little flute. With a more real real attack to make it sound a little bit more real. Yeah. So I fucking love the Kontakt. I remember when I like 20 years ago, I thought, you know, it should be easy to have a fucking good sampler on a computer. I didn't want to bring a fucking big Akai sampler. And then when this came, I said, oh, that's what I wanted all the time. So thanks to Native Instruments for giving me that. You can see here that I actually sampled the Mellotron, because the Mellotron usually just lasts for 8 seconds, and I wanted it to last forever. See that? So that's it. Theremin is also Kontakt, like everything else here. And I have that on a two octave pitch bend because I want to do. I want to do. But that's not an Emperor part. Let me see what I'm playing here. I don't remember. Let me see if I can remember as Theremin. Now, that's stuff I'm playing. Something like that. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. That's everything. Yeah, there's one other thing. Old school orchestra hit. I love that. And then I use Native Instruments battery for the outros. I'm using the E flat to trigger that, and then the E to mute it. I use that because it's more reliable than the MainStage playback thing, like which is a one-shot sample thing. So here I have the file, and I have any other. I just put it to like monophonic. So when I have another sample and the volume is down to, I don't know where I do that, but the volume on that sample is 0. So when I do that, it takes over from the other one and the volume is 0, so it chokes it. So it's basically a mute. So I have that on the outro. I have it on a, for instance, on a explosion thing, and on the outro the whole concert. So that's my Emperor setup. And when I'm done, I save as, bam. I would, this time I call it video done. Video done. Yeah. Like that. Pam. Yeah. And on to the next city. Put down my computer, put it in my backpack, hop on the plane, bam, bam, bam. Easy. So thanks to Native Instruments and especially Kontakt and also MainStage for this. I love it. I've also sampled my own hardware synths that I've sold because I don't need it. I sampled it with MainStage. It has this automatic sampling function. And I put it back into Kontakt and I use it on records and stuff like that. Sometimes I have on one song I have a piano, which is 3 different pianos. Electric shiny piano. I think that sounds good. But, you know, that's how it works. It's that simple. So, see ya!